down. Welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. We're a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer.
We have officially closed out Pride Month, but oh my gosh, it was so busy.
It was extremely busy. A lot of stuff going on. I mean, I really loved how the community really came out and was like, look, screw these companies that don't want to support us. We're going to have our own fun. And secondly, we're going to promote. I love the art that was being promoted, like the community artists, the small businesses, things that really make our community stronger. So, silver linings in all of this. And I really think that it brings honestly, it brings us all close together. This is such a huge city and there's so much, it's a metroplex. There's so many different parts of the city that are trying to do their own thing. And, I know a lot of us have been frustrated with everything, but honestly, I think it turned out to be really nice all the way around.
For sure. For sure. I did want to get your thoughts though, because we did our podcast anniversary. I really enjoyed just the evening of fun with you and those that did come out to hang out with us. But I wanted to get what were your thoughts on the movie?
On the movie. It was cute. It was cute in a way of trying to bring back that teenage angst and nostalgia. I don't want to give up too many spoilers, but the setting was definitely, I felt like trying to target us as millennials in our youth. They didn't look like millennials, but they were trying.
Well, they weren't. It took place in I think early 2000 mid 2000s
Mid
maybe.
2000s, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would say
no,
around that 05, 06 area,
Yeah, no. We agreed. My wife and I agreed that it was definitely there were some throwback sort of nostalgia pieces that were really nice. Yeah, we thought it was cute too. A nice little ode to your teenage angsty self.
It did make me teary-eyed. I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little teary-eyed with the story and understanding where she was coming from as far as how hard relationships are. As a queer person, you're just especially at that age, being young and even getting into adulthood, you're just trying to figure out who is a safe person, even though you can't really help who you start to like and love and
Right.
gross romance who
I know,
created it in the
romance.
first place.
But no, I thought it was cute, and I'm so glad we got to watch that together and celebrate that we are officially in year 2.
2 years.
What?
Good job, y'all.
So exciting. But lots of stuff has gone on, just kind of I was thinking about some of the conversations that we've had even this season. I feel like really this season, and I thought we could do some updates with some information.
Yeah.
So first things first, how is the job search going, Meaghan?
Well, what? I got a job. I'm not going to lose my house, y'all. It's for a little while there. I was laid off. For those of you who are newer to the show, I was laid off in December. My spouse was laid off in September. So we were dealing with both of us being out of work. And I'm not going to lie, I was pretty scared because, I finally have gotten myself where I'm like, yeah, things are okay. I've got a house, I got a car, I'm saving some money. And then we lose our jobs and all that money is just wow. So, yeah, it was rough. It was tough. It was honestly disgusting, how mechanical the grind is to look for a job. Trying to find that sweet spot. Before it was trying to find that sweet spot to win over the person who was interviewing you. And now is what is the way I need to put these words in a specific order so I can get an interview? At least.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No. And we even sort of kicked off our season with our conversation with Taylor Elder. If you recall, listeners, an early episode this season, we had her come on and kind of talk a little bit about hiring processes and gave us some insight into some tips and tricks. But we also kind of talked about something with her that I don't know about you. I've been following a story pretty closely, and that is a lawsuit involving this company called Workday. Workday is a company that they're like an HR finance type of software that companies can use to essentially streamline some of their HR sort of operational type of things. And so a lot of companies use their software for hiring as a hiring tool. A lawsuit was filed in 2023 alleging some discrimination.
2023.
Right. And initially the plaintiff, his name is Derek Mobley, I think. He was told it was basically dismissed. There was something off about it or whatever. Well, he refiled and basically said that it was a brand new lawsuit and they alleged, no, this is what happened. Well, that one has stuck and a judge in California just ruled that yes, there is merit here, it's going to trial. Because Workday tried to say, well, our software is used in all these other states and even countries, and people have gotten jobs, so it doesn't apply. But they're basically saying that because the tool is mainly structured or based in California, that California laws apply
Mhm.
to their discrimination. And it's just brought up some interesting conversations because this is one of the big times that now a company is essentially being held accountable for AI software that they
Yeah.
use. Whether they intended to be discriminatory or not, it still potentially happened within the software. And they're alleging it's not everything. This gentleman is alleging that the software, he's applied for like something like 1,000 jobs across multiple sort of employers who use
Mhm.
the Workday software. And he says that he's gotten rejected. And at times, and you and I talked about this, I think, with Taylor, at times he said the rejection was coming almost as soon as I submitted the application.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
like, a real person wasn't even going through it. Even jobs that I had the qualifications for and met all of the job requirements. So, they're alleging that his lawyer in the lawsuit claims that Workday software is discriminating on race, age, and disability status because he
Mhm.
self-discloses as someone who identifies with a disability when you have to self-identify or whatever. And so he says that it's flagging that. And then I guess his age range is also something that,
Yeah.
and then his race. So it'll be interesting though to see how this plays out because, I mean, we've talked in previous episodes about how AI can be a great tool, but are there boundaries
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
ensure equitable treatment for all?
Yeah, I think that something we should also know is that these companies in the last year have been implemented in everything that we've done so
Yeah.
quickly, which means, and you know how quickly like regulations go, like it takes years to regulate things and it takes years for
Mhm.
laws and statutes to be applied to these companies. And then it takes
Mhm.
another couple years for them to implement, right? And so I think we should definitely see, if we start to see patterns in these things, we should definitely bring them up because they're not being regulated anyway. And
Right.
another piece of this is that AIs are learning machines, right? They store actions and information to learn how to do to either filter or to come up with solutions and whatever. But if it's being fed instructions or if it's being fed only a certain type of information, it's only
Mhm.
going to come to certain types of conclusions. And I think it's so
Mhm.
dangerous that, I mean, it's exploded, and yes, it is an extremely deep, I don't even know how to explain it, but like a very intricate, like computer engineering, right? Software writing instructions that a lot of us, we don't understand. And honestly, we don't want to
Mhm.
take the time to understand, but it's impacting every single thing that we do. It's in our browsers, it's in our phones, it's in our, like, we were seeing it for jobs for several years, but now it's just everywhere. And I
Mhm.
think that, yeah, when I was applying for jobs, I was definitely like, do I disclose that I'm a Latina? Do I
Right.
disclose that I am even a female? There were some jobs that were asking, like, hey, do you fall into these types of groups, culture groups, because they, quote unquote, applaud and they want to have a diverse
Mhm.
workforce. But if the third party they hired to go through my applications don't have the same values, then what's the point, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like all this information is being stored, possibly being used in other companies because the machine is like, well, I already have this information. She wasn't a good candidate for this. We just don't know how this stuff works. And I think that the only way we're going to find out is to uncover it in the court, and because I don't think they're coming out with their secrets anytime soon.
No, no, they're not. And it's like like we have to have conversations about it because we are in such a technology forward era. Just some quick research that I found, 80% of US employers and virtually all Fortune 500 companies use AI tools in their hiring processes. And the SHRM, which is like the big HR
Hmm.
organization, they found that AI adoption in like HR tasks climbed to 43% in 2025, which was up from 26% in 2024.
Wow. Yeah.
So
So doubled.
people are using AI. And I think I saw someone, talking about the lawsuit. I saw someone kind of have a good take on it on LinkedIn, actually. I forget who they were, but it reminded me of something I even talk about when I'm sometimes teaching and talking about AI use is that AI, yes, does things on its own, but it can only it learns from humans. So it can only regurgitate information that already exists out there. So in terms of this, if perhaps the hiring process that they created as humans back in the 80s or whenever was even unintentionally biased in some way, and that was sort of the data that you fed into the AI algorithm, then yeah, your AI software is going to have that bias built into it, even if you're not telling it don't hire people who are over the age of 40 or
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
That's built into it. So it's essentially thinking the way that whoever the human was that created the initial system
Right.
was thinking. And that person may have had some bias around applicants who were over 40.
Right. Right.
So I think it's interesting.
It
And
is. And honestly, guys, I didn't beat the system. Okay. I got hired because of a referral. So I think like even though you're spending so much time on just trying to find like the
mhm.
best resume layout. I mean, I messed with my resume. Like I seriously, if I go back in there, I have like 40 different copies that I would use. Like it
Oh my
just like
gosh, yes.
just changing it and saving it, changing it and saving it, and just trying to like be like, okay, well, this isn't working. Let me try this. And I think the most helpful thing was just networking. And
Mhm.
yeah, I got some interviews, but the most powerful thing was the human like connection.
Mhm.
And it turned out to be a really great spot, but that's not easy like that for everybody, and
Mhm.
frankly, I think some people are like, I wouldn't be surprised if some companies are like, hey, like we need to rely on this software. Don't waste your time and
Right.
energy going to conferences or going to
Mhm.
networking spaces because we are already investing in this software because that's a bottom line
Right.
issue,
Yeah.
So I could totally see things like that happen, but we're not going to be able to fix anything until we uncover what's actually happening. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I hope I'm
Mhm.
definitely going to follow that story. I think it's one of very many that are going to come up over the
Mhm.
next few years. So that's
Well,
wild.
it's one of the I think it's the first of its kind.
Mhm.
And so I think it'll be one that a lot of eyes are on to see, like, essentially, is a company going to be held responsible for the actions of AI?
Yeah. And I think that that's also another thing, right? Is because, yes, this court case is happening. And I hope
Mhm.
that, if there was foul play, that they are able to hold them accountable. But technically, if it's not a law and the judge is like, it's borderline, yes, discrimination on like the Disabilities Act or,
Yeah, that's the angle they're taking
mhm,
is that
on the
it
Disabilities
violates
Act.
the Disability Act and
Right.
the Civil Rights Act.
Right. So, but it's like,
As well as there's a certain California specific
I'm
law
sure,
that
like,
is cited as well. Yeah.
But in places like Texas, across the
Mhm.
South, like they're not regulating data centers, they're not regulating
Mm.
AI, they're not regulating corporate hiring processes because they just simply don't think that it's, their responsibility. But it does become the responsibility of them if we can't get jobs and
Right.
we can't pay our taxes because we don't have a job and we
Mhm.
can't, it's an ecosystem, and right now people are definitely taking advantage of that ecosystem. And I think that
Mhm.
if for whatever reason this case doesn't fall in the way that it needs to, like, I really hope that people step up and we're like, well, hey, there's some real issues here, we need to make a law because
Mhm.
there's nothing
Or
protecting people from
right, or
this.
we need to create like a bill of rights specific
Hmm.
towards technology and AI,
I mean,
and
honestly, yeah.
like we need to put in parameters to ensure that people can still thrive, even like
Hmm.
incorporating the data centers, right? Like we're seeing I don't know I don't know. I've been kind of sucked into some of it recently because of this, but the data centers is a hot topic right now. And AOC actually just filed some legislation trying to issue that she's trying to get passed, basically saying like a moratorium on basically building data centers, not saying a permanent ban, but basically saying we need to hit pause, we need to hit the brakes because we need to ensure that before we build these infrastructures, it's not destroying our communities that people
Hmm.
live in, and that
Hmm.
they can still get access to clean water, that
Yep.
their homes are not being destroyed and all of that. So, like, before we start just steamrolling forward with all these, we need to hit pause and really evaluate it.
Yeah, because I think that even in that the last constitutional vote we had in Texas was to fund basically some water conservation and some
Mhm.
water efficiency infrastructure things. And they were saying
Mhm.
that that report was like maybe 1 or 2 years old or so, and that even though it's been passed this past year, it's already out of date. Things have
Mhm.
already changed so much that they're like, actually, the money y'all passed isn't enough money, and
Mhm.
it's because we keep adding to our infrastructure that we can't support it. And it's going to start
Mhm.
affecting lives. And yeah, and I know that the governor is like saying, hey, we're going to make them responsible for their electricity flow and their water flow. And I'm like, the water's all coming from the same place, buddy. I don't know where you think they're going to start shipping
Right?
it from.
Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah.
And
So, I
also
mean,
Texas operates on a grid.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's all talk, and there's everyone's too afraid to touch it because those are their donors. So
Right, yeah.
I think it's going to
Yeah.
be up to communities, local communities. I know Fort Worth is really battling one out right now. That's very politically connected to their mayor.
Mhm.
All surrounding counties in DFW are fighting it. And for those communities, it's going to be really difficult the next few years. So, yeah, I mean, I can imagine like what? Okay, one, we're trying to get jobs out here. And then two, you're going to make us
Mhm.
like our basic living circumstance, you're going to make
Right,
even more
yeah.
difficult. I don't know what you want us to do about that.
Right. But
Okay.
but yeah, so I just all of this to say, I think whether you're job searching or you're just interested in the ramifications of AI, maybe your company is using AI software for a lot of internal processes, hiring processes. Ask questions
Yeah. Start building like
politely,
ethics, you
respectfully.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the ethics behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are some groups out there that are already creating like, some sort of ethics guidelines,
Mhm.
but it doesn't work if we're not implementing them. We could talk about it all
Right.
day long,
Mhm.
you know? And
Mhm.
so I hope so. Maybe that's something we should look into is figuring out, what are the ethics surrounding like how we implement AI into our workspace,
Oh
and
my
what are the
gosh,
things
yes.
we should think about?
Yes.
How's your how's your job search going, Maddie?
Well, I stay sort of in the job. I'm a jack of all
You
trades.
really are.
I do a lot of different things, but I am excited. I am sort of venturing back into the more full-time type of setting.
It's exciting,
I'm excited, but also a little nervous because it's been how many years now since I've been in kind of a full-time
right?
working for someone else
Yeah, seriously. You've been your own
type
boss for
of
so
setup.
many years.
Yeah, I've done just mainly contract work and freelance stuff. So, but I'm excited. I think it'll be a good opportunity. And I mean, it will give me some access to better benefits and more stability, I think, in like a money flow, which is vital right now because I think I told you this before. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like life keeps finding ways to spend my money
Yeah.
that I don't have.
I looked at my little June report and I was like, I don't even know. I didn't even know I had that much money. Apparently, I wasted it all. I was like, apparently, it got spent.
Right. Wh-
The
Where
summer's killing
where
me.
did it go?
Where did it go? Where did it go? Yeah, apparently I decided I got a job and I was like, oh, shopping. Time to treat
Before
myself
you even got paid.
before I even got paid.
You
Money
spent
came in
you
and
spent
then
the
it went
money.
out. Yep, yep. So that's been fun. But yeah, I was definitely super nervous. I mean, it's very nerve-wracking to get a new job because you're like, okay, yes, I met them in the interview, but I don't know like how calm my boss is gonna be during tough
Right.
situations. They say they may start you off with like, yeah, you can do this and this and that and that. And then when you start doing those things, is it really gonna roll with what they're telling you?
Right.
So getting those first day jitters, and even now, I mean, I've only been working for about a month now. I'm still like on my eggshells because I've experienced so much trauma in the workplace. Well, like honestly, like people telling me I don't know if y'all know anything about me. I'm a very processed person, and like when it comes to my work, I like to make
Mhm.
sure all my dots and T's are marked or whatever the heck you want to do. And then I start doing those things, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Well, you didn't curve the T in the way I thought you were going to curve the T." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Well, if you wanted to
Mhm.
curve the T that way, then you should have told me."
For sure. I have kind of been feeling the same way, and I haven't even officially started. Like, the paperwork is done, I have an official start day or whatever, but yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like, "My gosh, am I gonna, like a lot of the doubt, I guess, because of
Hmm.
everything that we went through the last time that I worked full time,
Yeah,
and so I'm like, "Can I do this?"
you can definitely do it. You got this.
Like, is
No.
it okay to send this email? Like, is it
Yeah.
okay to say this? Is it okay to do this?
Yeah.
And I think that's from the trauma I had of
Hmm.
being in such a abusive and toxic work environment.
Yeah. That you question like every move you make.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. But I think, you know what, Maddie? I know you're going to do an awesome job. And you know your boundaries. If we've been talking about it on this show a
Mhm.
100 million times, and if you don't got it, I'm going to just have to like write it on your forehead. These are Maddie's boundaries. Please do not cross.
I am thinking it will be beneficial for us, Megan, as we both kinda get back into this groove for us to continually remind ourselves of the importance of work-life balance and
Yes.
making sure that we are still doing those things that we enjoy doing to decompress. Like, I didn't put in all that work for the last, 5 years, reinvesting in self-care and establishing, like, a good balance to lose it all and become a workaholic again.
No, 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 no. Yeah, definitely don't cross your own boundaries. Like we set them there for a reason. And sometimes you just got to say no. Like, what's the
Mhm,
worst? I mean, like, it's better than pushing yourself so far that you're like, well, this is actually a deliverable I can't meet anymore, or I'm going to have to cross my own
mhm,
boundary, and
mhm,
it's not worth it. It really
right,
isn't.
mhm.
They
I'm
can, they can wait
curious
till Monday.
yeah, I'm curious in your interviewing process, were you, I guess, was that talked about at all? Kind of like your work-life balance
I
habits
mean,
or
it was
anything?
definitely, if they didn't talk about it, I always asked about it because I kind of came around it like with well, do y'all flex time? When you guys work on the weekends, what does that look like? Do you work through the week and then still work the weekend? Like they're always going to tell you, well, during crunch time, we're all going to pull out an extra few
Mhm,
hours. That's cool. If crunch
mhm,
time only happens 2 to 3 times a year and that crunch time is like 2 days,
mhm,
but crunch time doesn't need to be 6 months, you know? So those were questions I definitely asked that came around like, hey, what does your work week look like? Or,
mhm,
how do you resolve conflict? Like those are things that they sometimes have asked me is like, how do you resolve a conflict? But if they're not asking it, I would be like, well, if you feel that I'm not hearing you out, how do you want to go about that so that we can be on the same page? How do you like to
mhm,
communicate? And then I was usually very honest with them. Like, hey, look, like there will be times I will tell you no. And if I feel like my plate is getting full, I will list you out everything that I'm doing. and be like, I will get you this thing by, next week.
Right. Right.
But if my plate is full, then you're going to have to decide what thing you want me to put down so I can get that other thing done, and just
Mhm.
being really clear about that. And I definitely think that some people did turn me down because I was clear about, like, expectations about how I work and what their expectations might be. And yeah, it bummed me out. But at the same time, I was like, well, if they can't help that I'm honest about like what my
Mhm.
limits are, then I don't need to be working there because I'm just going to be miserable in the next 6 months.
Mhm.
And what's the point of that? So it's just kind of like that balance. And I think that I remember when we were talking about with room for change, it's like that, there's always that point in your mental health where you have to decide like something's got to give.
Right.
Is it going to be my well being or is it going to be the job?
Mhm.
And sometimes people choose the jobs. I've seen plenty of people choose the job. I've chosen the job, but
Yeah.
it definitely took me way longer to heal than
Mhm.
it was to do that thing that really crashed me out, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
it's a give and take, I think, but I think you can do
No,
it.
I think
I know
no,
you
no.
can do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think for me, I was kind of specifically asked because of the kind of job that it is, kind of how I maintain a balance because they knew up front that I had a lot of sort of side hustles.
Hmm.
And they kind of just said, like, "How do you manage your time appropriately?" And so I highlighted the importance of establishing a routine that works for me, even if it may not necessarily be what works for other people. And if that means I have to, like, block off certain time for certain tasks, then I do that, but that I really do value that time with my family and my loved ones. So they were kind of asking, like, what do I value in kind of teamwork and stuff? And I said, things like collaboration, being able to like go to someone with questions and not be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's also self-care, I think,
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
being able to say, "I'm struggling with this, and I just wanna bounce some ideas off of you." But then I also said, like, just everything I've been through, I really value prioritizing mental health and mental well-being, and if we're not okay as a team mentally, then the people that we are serving and working with are also not getting the best of us. So
Yeah.
I value when other people are encouraging self-care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they
You know,
must have liked it because I got the job.
Phew, yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, well, this, Maddie knows what we're talking about. I kind of align with that. And
Mm,
I feel like if they have a problem, they'll tell you, like, hey, well, actually, we're going to need you to do this. Or
mm,
actually, this is something you will have to do.
mhm.
Because unless they're a very like green manager, like managers know what poor hires look like. And
Right.
honestly, it's
Mhm,
not worth it. You're like, actually, I've had this type of person in
mhm.
my workplace before, and that just doesn't work for me. And, so don't be, I think it's very important to ask those kinds of questions because it's something they need to consider, and
Mhm,
you never know. You never know. It may
mhm.
work out for you. So,
Yeah.
good job,
Yay for
Maddie.
us.
Yeah.
We're in our new
Woo.
job era.
Yeah. New job era.
New job
We're
era.
newbies again. I mean, all I'm asking for is peace of mind and a paycheck.
Right. That's all we need. That's all
That's
we need.
literally I'm very low maintenance, I promise.
We're just trying to live in this
Mhm.
world right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm so happy for us and hopefully listeners, you can hear about like our new journey and if you're looking for a job or maybe you've had some ups and downs with the interviews or maybe you've come in contact with an AI that was like this is questionable. Definitely let us know in the comments.
Mhm,
Curious to see
mhm.
how everyone's experience is getting a job right now cuz I think we're all in the same boat. It's just very
Yeah.
miserable. And
Yeah.
it's not fun times. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listeners, since Megan and I are starting a new job, what are essentials that you need for the workplace, whether it's something that you keep at your desk or just questions that we should get answered pretty quickly, whatever you feel like answering, let us know in the comments or DM us on social media, whatever works best for you. But we're curious what Megan and I should make sure we are doing as we start these new jobs
ooh, yes. Tips and
in our
tricks,
new job.
plus
Yeah, in our new job era so we can keep them.
Yeah, ideally, that would be great.
Ideally.
I don't think I can take another 6-month stint.
I am out of coffee though. That is our cue to wrap up.
Be sure you're connected with us on our socials and continue the conversation. We'd love to hear about your questions you have and your experience navigating in the workplace.
Absolutely. We love social media. So you can find us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and Patreon. And of course, be sure to check out the show on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Of course, we hope that you will continue to join us for Not a Lonely Coffee Break. Again, we are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. Cheers,
Cheers, queer.
queers.